What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Everyday Real Talk with Michelle. I just have to throw that in every time. I don't know why, but I do. But anyway, I got a question for you. Have you ever felt like you've always had to explain yourself when you do something or for the choices that you make? Do you feel like you got to explain that to people? Because that's something that I've found myself struggling with. Even though they hadn't said they didn't understand, I just felt like that's something that I needed to do to let people understand why I was doing something or why I made a choice that I did. But I feel like a lot of us do that. We may not pay attention to it because we don't even realize we're doing it. Um, I didn't have that clarity moment until actually, like, I'll say within the last year. But today we're going to discuss breaking the need to over-explain yourself. Now, let's talk about where this comes from. For those of you who do struggle with over-explaining yourself, where this need comes from or where this habit comes from could be a fear of being judged regarding decisions you make or choice that you've made. And it comes from people pleasing. If somebody asks you to do something and you can't do it, and you automatically go off into explaining why you can't do it, you feel like you don't want to disappoint anybody, which is an act of people pleasing, which still comes back to fear of someone feeling less about you because you weren't able to do something. And over explaining is also conditioning around approval for what you already decided. Otherwise, your answer would just be enough. Which brings to another thing. You don't want to feel guilty about putting yourself first about a choice that you made or about a decision, right? Because it's people pleasing again. Another reason could be growing up. You feel like you had to justify things that you did. But if you look at all the examples that I gave, the key connection to everything is that they all stem from seeking validation or approval from an outside source other than yourself. And if you are looking for validation from somebody else, we're really not explaining or over explaining for clarity. We're over explaining for acceptance. And not only do we want someone else to agree with us, we'll keep explaining it until they do. Or I'm not going to say we because I don't know what you do, or I will find myself changing my mind about something that I said I wasn't going to do and do it anyway, do it the other way that somebody else suggested, even though that's not what I wanted to do. But it was just to get that validation. Since I couldn't get them to understand my way, I'll just do it their way. So what I have realized is how draining over explaining can be. It drains your energy, especially if you're going in circles about something and you're trying to prove a point. You're trying to justify something you're doing and the other person's not getting it or simply just don't want to get it. And it's like, okay, we're just going in this circle here. Somebody, I need to cut this out. Not only does it drain your energy, but it also makes you have self-doubt. You lack that confidence. I think I said that earlier. You do. Because you begin to question everything you think, what you're going to say. You're always thinking ahead regarding something that you feel you're going to be judged on if you don't explain it. When you over explain, you invite in unnecessary opinions from other people because they can feel that you're not even sure about it yourself. So I'm going to, me as talking to the other person, I'm going to throw my 2 cents in too and try to convince you why you shouldn't do this. You're inviting me in with that. If I'm already over explaining myself and talking unsure, I'm giving the energy that my decision can be overturned. Then yeah, you're going to invite somebody else in to do that for you. And over explaining can also weaken your boundaries, which would be another example too, because you can be easily convinced of things. You're an easy target. And if there are no boundaries, you're going to be putting yourself last because you're going to be putting everybody else's thoughts and feelings ahead of yours. But when you stop over explaining, you begin to get more confident in yourself. You start to feel more grounded. People start respecting your boundaries. Your decisions become more clear because you don't need that outside validation. You have clarity and you stop needing people to agree with you to move forward because you already made the decision on what you're going to do. And I'm just letting you know what I'm going to do. I'm not waiting on validation for this. I'm not waiting on you to agree with it. And that's the way it is. Now, this isn't being selfish or mean, but it's just having confidence in your decision, confidence in yourself. You don't have to be rude or loud. Confidence can be quiet because confidence doesn't have to explain itself. People will see your confidence. People will feel the energy of your confidence, and that confidence will be respected. So, what you can start doing if you have this habit, like I did, is say what you mean. As simple as that. And if you feel yourself getting off into that over explaining, just cut it off. Um, which brings me to allow silence after your decision. I said it and let that stand. Now, some people will try to challenge you on it, but I'm going to tell you, silence speaks volumes. And it can feel uncomfortable at first because it's silent. But one or two things happen. Your boundaries are going to be respected, or else whomever you're telling this to will start trying to pull you in by still talking about it. But you can still hold your silence, I'm telling you. And they'll get the picture. And in saying that, you got to accept that everybody's not going to understand what you're doing or understand why you're not over explaining anymore. But once you start doing it, an understanding will be had. It will. And I'm going to tell you, it's a good feeling when you don't have to do that anymore. When you can just stand in what you said and just let that silence or let your word speak for itself. Once you start doing it, you'll see the difference. You'll see how much that was draining you. Relationships and the love people have for you shouldn't end just because you're not over explaining yourself anymore because of an answer that you've given or a decision that you made. It's all about boundaries. So, in closing, I just want to say that you don't need everyone to understand your choices. Your life is yours to live and not to justify. And growth often comes from being uncomfortable. And this is just another part of your growth. You're putting yourself first. You are enforcing your boundaries and you are becoming more confident in yourself. You're growing. And with that being said, you don't owe it an explanation for who you're becoming. But before I go, I do have some talking points for you. I mean, not talking points. I have some reflection questions for you to write down and to think about. So the first question is going to be, where in your life do you feel the need to over explain the most? What would it look like for you to explain yourself with clarity instead of justification? So that is it for this episode of Everyday Real Talk. Thank you for tuning back in again. And I want to invite you guys to like the video, to subscribe to the channel, and to hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified anytime that I upload any new material. And also leave something in the comments for me. And let me know, do you over explain yourself? Or have you had clarity yet about over explaining yourself? I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye.